we can be seated or standing, which is so wonderful about this practice. And as we go through it, you'll see how maybe you can really incorporate, if not the whole thing, parts of it throughout your day, because it's so well suited to doing seated. This is a practice of the 7 faucets of our body and of chi flow. It was taught to me by Josh Summers and Terry Cockburn. And it's essentially about encouraging lymph flow in our bodies, but it also will encourage energy flow, chi flow. It's a good way to connect with your body with your hands if you're not used to self-massage. It's a great little introduction to self-massage, and also to acupressure in a way too, because it's even less specific and demanding or precise as something as like acupressure, which is not at all. So it's just a nice practice that you can do in the morning or anytime during the day. So wherever you are, seated or standing, we can start by just realizing where we are in time and space. You may want to close your eyes. You may want to soften your gaze, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you're standing, notice the sensation of your feet on the floor. You can do that as well if you're seated in a chair. But just see if you can mentally gather all the parts of you to be as one in one place for this practice, especially the first time we run through it. So you're taking it in and learning it and sort of imprinting it on your body for the first time. Like to begin hands-on practices, rubbing hands, waking them up, warming them up, helps us connect with the sensory receptors in our fingertips. So our hands become more sensitive to what we're doing, and you can act like you're washing your hands. You can contact the backs of your hands and even circle and ring your wrists a bit. And if it helps to shake them out when you're done, that's a nice thing too. Yeah, wrist circles, finger flicks, it's countless, the things that we can do with our hands. So whatever comes up for you or calls out to you, go ahead and do that. All right, I am not gonna mirror you, which is something I normally do when I teach acupressure or yoga. I'm gonna be doing the same thing as you. Right hand to left collarbone. We're gonna start in this area. Just start by palpating around the collarbone area. You're not looking for anything. You're more, it's like when you first meet somebody, you're just kind of getting to know them. What is this person or collarbone all about? Just gentle pressing above and below this area. That is always the first step in any of these areas when we get there, is just gentle palpation. The second step is a form of tapping. I'm going to use my fingertips here. I'll come a bit closer. Actually, I can be closer for this part so you can see. Above and below the collarbone, the amount of pressure for this is sort of like you're burping a newborn, like really gently here. Above and below. And then smoothing out the area. Finally, this is the third step, more like a massage. So where palpation was a little more pressing, this is more smoothing and integrating all the movements you've done. All right, we were on the left. Let's do the same thing on the right. So first start with palpation. We started on the left because that's the area of high concentration of lymph nodes. That's what we'll be doing throughout the body. You'll see as that all comes together. And it's closest to the thoracic area of the body where the lymph is circulated and dealt with in the thoracic area. So we're working the area closest to the operative or most important function that lymph has, which is the cleaning up of the body. Switch to tapping. Again, I like to use fingertips. Maybe you want to use the heel of your hand here. That might be a little much. All fingertips, a couple of fingertips, whatever calls out to you. And then finally, a little bit of smoothing, a little bit of massage. This area, like many of the other areas we're going to work with today, high concentration also of acupressure points. So a lot of things come together in this practice. Nice. And then we're going to move up the body to the area behind the ears. There's a little hollow behind your earlobes. So you can start there, gentle pressing palpation. And the direction we like to move for this is down the neck toward that collarbone area where you just were. So it's kind of like you're clearing out the collarbone area first, so that this area behind the ears, the lymph vessels can empty out into that collarbone area, which you've just cleared and cleaned effectively. The massage similarly flows down, and this you want to be really gentle. So all fingertips at once, or maybe sort of like raindroppy fingertips down the sides of your neck and the front. Really gentle. In traditional Chinese medicine, sometimes there are specific numbers of things. So if you're doing this by yourself as a practice, maybe you do 36 taps. This one is a little different because you have so many little fingertips contacting your skin. But if you appreciate having a number to work with, maybe you work with the number 36, which is considered to be auspicious in traditional Chinese medicine. And then the massage, really gently dragging fingertips along this area here and down the neck. All right, next area is the armpit chest. I'm going to start on my left. You start on your left as well. So this is, again, feeling in this area, not looking for anything, which I know for some of us is a little different when we touch ourselves in this area. Often we're looking for something, nothing to look for here, just making contact with your body here, armpit, chest. And it's nice to naturally move in the area from the outer part of the body toward the center. Again, we're moving everything toward that thoracic area of the body where the lymph gets cleaned and exchanged. And then massage, you may want to do this with a little position of your hand like this, so you can get up and into this area. Again, doesn't need to be hard. You're not looking for any type of specific reaction. You could use a gentle fist or a soft fist here also. And then massage, integrating the movement. So our lymph system helps, as I mentioned, clean and clear, so it's very effective. I'm switching to the right. For our immune system, it helps bolster and support our immune system, is considered to be kind of part of our immune system. It helps transport fat and fat-soluble vitamins, and it helps clean and collect, I guess would be the word, extra interstitial fluid between the cells. So water management in the body is one of the functions and features of this system. If you've ever had swelling in a particular area, your lymph system may have been involved. It's impacts the blood pressure of the body. So it really, for something that's not visible and for some of us not talked about very often, it does a lot. And it's good to keep it flowing and healthy. Massage, and then this last step integrates everything here. In between, if you want to shake out a little bit, you can. Your hands may be getting a little tired. We're going to keep using them as we go here. I'm going to the left side again. Elbow crease. So same thing. This is a much smaller area than what we're just coming off of with the armpit crease. So gentle palpation here of the inner part of the elbow. And then this tapping, it's nice to do it with a cupped hand. You don't need direct pressure in the center of the elbow. So we're looking for the tapping to contact above and below the little dip in your elbow. And you can rotate your arm a little bit to get some different angles. Again, gentle, gentle. This whole practice is gentle. And then integration, a little bit of smoothing, maybe even circling. Moving to the other side, little gentle palpation, just feeling this area. A lot of times this initial step is what gets us to connect with our bodies in a way we don't normally. So we might say, oh, I feel something there I don't normally feel, or that joint, you know, I really worked that yesterday when I was doing something in particular, something physical. So you may discover something about yourself by doing especially the initial part of this. Change over to tapping. The lymph system doesn't have its own pump like your heart does. So movement, physical movement, breathing, particularly deep breathing, and this type of practice, self-massage, is very effective in helping the lymph flow better. And flow at all, actually. So this is a nice thing to add on those days when a big physical movement practice isn't in the cards for you. Maybe experiment with something like this. All right, little shake out. We're going to move to the center of the body. Couple different ways to do this. Hand over hand to just check in. Checking in with this part of the body, I think, at different points during the day is really helpful. We don't tend to put our hands on the center of our bodies. So it's definitely a way to connect and see what might be going on in the gut, both physically and what emotions we might be carrying around. And tapping can stay in the same, your hands can stay in the same position, hand over hand. They can be side by side. It's nice to kind of move in a clockwise motion here. That's the direction that our guts move naturally. So it's nice to work with that energy anyway. And again, hand over hand, or maybe you want to do them together. Different things on different days, right? And then for the massage, gentle side to side. I find this very soothing and relaxing. And hopefully you will too. And you can still go in a circle if you like here, whatever calls out to you. All right, and back up just a little bit here. The next area we're going to is this crease here, the inguinal crease. It might be starting to become clear to you that these are all areas where we have been taught that the lymph nodes are in a higher concentration. So sometimes when we're sick, we might have a lymph node that pops out in one of these areas in response to our immune system really kicking in and doing its job. So you may be familiar with these areas because of that. This area in particular, you can come down the fronts and insides of your legs if that calls out to you, or even out to the sides of your hips. The tapping for this, what's most effective is the sides of the hands. And again, does not need to be very vigorous here. I'm going in a downward direction. You may be called to go in an upward direction, or maybe it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you it doesn't matter, but whatever makes sense to you on any given day. And then the massage, maybe stroking up your legs and out to the sides. This practice, again, since we're working with lymph flow and consequently energy flow, I get very thirsty doing this practice. Whether or not you get thirsty, it's a good idea to drink water afterwards. You are definitely impacting the flow of lymph here, and water will help it along. I have a chair here. I'm going to sit. You don't have to for this last one. Let's see if I do sit. Can you still see me? Yeah. It's easiest when you're seated to get to the crease behind your knees. It's our last area. You can also do it standing. I just find it a little nicer, kinder to my body to do it seated. And so this is a good practice that you could start standing and finish seated if you want. And like the elbow crease after the little palpation at the beginning, the cupped hands can be effective to get behind the crease of the knees. Again, you could use maybe soft fists here. The fronts or sides of soft fists would be a good thing to experiment with. It's really up to you what calls out to you. And remember that different days, different things are going to feel good. And then finally, the integration, the smoothing. Maybe you're going in a direction that's more upward. And that's our last stop on the 7 faucets here. If you can stay seated, you can come up to standing, but a nice thing to do is to shake to finish this out. Shake your hands out. You can do what you did before. You can do something different. I am going to stand because shaking is one of my favorite things to do. And there's so many different ways to do it. 1 foot at a time. Hands up above your head, out to the sides, to one side and the other. You can really sort of make this your unique dance. And this also will get in addition to your lymph moving, your energy turned up a little bit. If you needed something besides a cup of coffee in the afternoon, I think that would do it. And that's it. Come to stillness wherever you are, seated or standing, when it feels right for you after you're shaking. And maybe notice the beating of your heart may have increased from the shaking. Allow it to settle and allow your awareness to settle in your feet if you're standing. If you're seated with your feet on the floor, notice the connection, the contact with the earth. And when you feel ready, come back into the space around you, maybe by opening your eyes or bringing that gaze back into focus, turning your head, coming back to present moment, remembering where you are in your day. Definitely have some water. Help all of those fluids to move, help your energy to have something to ride on, a nice wave to ride on, and you can get on with your day. And that's the practice. Thanks for joining me today.